Well, buying a home can be such a fun and rewarding process, but it can also get a bit stressful. Can you afford it? What about financing? You know, all those important questions.
Fun, yes. Stressful, yes. That's why it's best to work with a professional when making what could be the biggest purchase in your lifetime.
Who better to help than with Keller Williams Realtor Troy Trumm? Welcome back.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, great to have you back. Well, before buying a home, what are some things a buyer can do to prepare to get a mortgage?
Well, first thing is obvious. Make your credit card payments on time. Next, keep your credit balances on those cards to 30% or lower than the credit limit. Another thing that sometimes people make the mistake of, they think if they have a credit card they don't use and it has a zero balance, they close that account thinking it will raise their credit score. And actually the opposite will happen. It will reduce their amount of available credit and as a result increase their debt to credit ratio. And the last thing is to check their credit report for errors. Then go to annualcreditreport.com, which is the government's official site for credit reporting.
What kind of errors might they find?
Sometimes they might find old debts that haven't been marked as paid, or they might be information on there that doesn't apply to them. It may have been somebody with the same name or somebody that lived at the same address that got misreported on their credit report.
Well, yeah, that's something I never would have thought of, which is checking to make sure, you know, I could check my credit score maybe once a year, I think, free through Wells Fargo, and just go along with it. So that would be good information.
If someone wants to apply for a mortgage, what information does the buyer need to provide? Because, like you said, you check your credit report, but what exactly will they turn up in your history?
Well, what you need to provide is your photo ID, social security number, of course, so they can pull your credit. But you also need to provide a lot of financial information. Depending on the mortgage that you're getting, it could be a month's worth of pay stubs, 2 most recent bank statements, and documentation of your assets and liabilities.
And what mistakes have you seen buyers make that affect their ability to get financing?
One thing is making major purchases while they're in the process of buying a home. Lenders will generally pull your credit when you apply for the mortgage, but they may again just prior to closing the purchase. And if they find new debt that shows up, that may adversely affect your ability to close on that purchase.
Right. You don't want to be buying a car or something.
Right, exactly. Or go out and buy new furniture because you're excited about the new home, ultimately for it to have an impact on your credit rating. Another thing is switching jobs. You don't want to switch jobs when you're in the process of buying a home because that again can affect your standing as far as your lender goes. Switching from full-time to part-time or changing industries or switching from a salary compensation position to commission all could derail your financing. So wait until after you buy the home to make a job change.
Yeah, lender could get pretty nervous with that.
You want to make sure everything in your life is kind of nice and stable at that time. I think it's a really intimidating process. The first time I bought a house, I did it by myself as a single person, and it's kind of hard to know where to start and what to do. And I think you know, like, I should be investing this money in a home instead of kind of throwing my rent away. But it's so tough to even like get yourself in the mindset to get started. But you're making it easy. One of the things that you're making available is a new financing program.
Right. There's a new financing option sweeping the country, and I was asked to introduce it to the Omaha market. What's unique about it is the overhead expenses are so low that the lender fees that are normally charged have been eliminated. Most lenders charge an application fee, processing fee, underwriting fee, and an origination fee. That origination fee generally is 1% to 2% of the loan amount. That alone can be thousands of dollars. By eliminating all those fees, buyers will save between $4,000 to $7,000 depending on the price of the home they're buying. And also they get a $1,000 credit at closing.
Wow, that's great to say. I mean, 4 to 7, that's a lot of money.
That is.
But with the, you know, the lack of those extra fees, is there a higher interest rate with that?
There is not. That's what a lot of lenders will promote, a no fee mortgage, but how they do it is they raise the interest rate. This program's been compared side by side with other lenders, both big and small, and they found the interest rate was the same or even lower than what other lenders are offering.
Okay, so what's the catch? I mean, this sounds great.
It does sound great.
It is. But there really is no catch. It's just one of those revolutionary things that happens in some industries where it really completely changes the landscape of how things work. This is the most revolutionary thing to happen to real estate since the internet.
Wow.
Well, how will it affect sellers?
Well, sellers will benefit too because it makes their home more affordable to buyers, so it's easier to sell. And also, they may actually net more money from their sale because without the buyer having to pay all these lender fees, they don't have to ask the seller to pay a bunch of closing costs for them.
So how can somebody get into this program in the first place? And who is this program for?
Really, it's for first-time buyers, move-up buyers, Buyers are looking at moving into, downsizing into something smaller. Really, it's for anybody. All they need to do, if buyers interested in getting a mortgage through the program, or a seller's interested in offering this financing to buyers in order to make their home sale easier, all they need to do is contact me and my team, and we'll take care of everything.
Well, and speaking of contacting, the best ways to reach you are by heading online to trumpteam.com for more information, or there's the phone number right there on your screen. It is 402-884-4848.
Got to ask you to give a shout out to the rest of the Trumm team, because we see you're Troy Trumm, you're the face of the team. Who else is on your team? Because you've got an amazing group of people behind you, because you can cover every facet. We talked about staging last time.
Yep.
So what are the advantages of working with your team?
Well, I have, one of the unique things I'll point out is I have buyer agents that work for me. And why that's important is I don't do dual agency, which means one agent represents both the buyer and seller.
Right.
Agents love it because it means they keep the whole commission. But it's at the detriment of both the buyer and seller because you can't adequately represent both parties' interests.
Right.
So any buyer that's working with our team, they'd be working with one of my buyer's agents. I'd be working with sellers. There'd be no conflict of interest there. So it makes the process a lot smoother and a lot more above board. There's no conflict of wondering, can you talk openly with your agent?
All right, well, always fantastic information. Thank you so much for stopping back. And for more information, again, head on over to trumpteam.com.
Revolutionary. Really interesting information.
It is, yeah.
It's
Thank
good
you
being
very
here.
much, Troy.